Howdy, gamers, and welcome to Checkpoint Reached, a weekly show where we discuss a topic in gaming with some occasional news stories, movie and TV quotes, and some random life rants. Thank you all so much again for joining us for another exciting episode. We are apologize for the missing one last week, but hey, our reasons are our own. Joining me, I am Lex, along with my co-host Ernie.
Hello, hello. How we doing?
I'm doing great, Ernie. This is an exciting episode today, and I want you to set it up. Why is it so exciting? Tell me, please.
Well, two reasons, Lex. Now, I'm blessed with two of my really good friends here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yourself, as I have you every week, besides last week, and then we have a special guest today, Kyle, and I always call him Kyle Golden Doodle here on the YouTube channel, but
Yes.
Kyle,
yes. Hello,
friend
hello.
of the channel, right? We've played many games. Please,
Yes,
introduce
thank you for
yourself.
having me. My name is Kyle. I've known Ernie and Lex for a very long time. Very dear friends of mine, proper gaming friends of mine. We have traversed many hours in this wonderful world we like to call the gaming sphere.
No,
Oh man, he's
You
prepared, dude.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you for having me.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
ready to talk about this topic that Ernie has invited me here, which I'm sure he's going to set up.
dude. Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for joining us. We appreciate it. It's been a long time coming for sure.
Yeah.
And his name is not Golden Doodle, but we're gonna keep it that way because it's
No,
fun.
yeah, it's more mysterious that way, and I would like for people to come up to me out of the sheer just fame and, just
Fortune. Yeah.
recognition,
Exactly.
fortune that is gonna come my way, due
It's
to
gonna be
this.
crazy
But
because someone's gonna walk up to you. You're gonna be at the AMC. You're gonna go watch a movie. I don't know, Kiki's
Yes.
delivery service out of nowhere, right? Someone's gonna run up to you. Aren't you that guy
Mhm.
I
from
am
the Elden
that
Ring
guy.
episode? You're
Yeah.
gonna be like, "Sh, my guy."
My guy, that is me.
That is
Yeah,
me.
dude.
Mr.
How's everyone?
Golden
How's
Doodle.
everyone doing? I mean, yeah. So last week, I just want to share real quick. Ernie, may I share what happened last week with us? Is that okay? Are you okay with it?
No, we don't have time for that. But just go
Oh
ahead.
my gosh.
You're the one that when we let me give you guys context. When before we started the episode, he was telling me he was like, "We're not gonna have time for any of this," and I'm like, "Okay, why?"
No, because Kyle
Okay.
wanted to ask a question. I said we don't have time,
Oh.
but I'm messing, of course.
Yeah,
So last week, Ernie and I attempted to record an episode, and we had some issues with the audio. So that's why
We
we took
did.
the hiatus, and we apologize. I know you all missed us, but hey, I hope you had caught up on the great episodes and content we already have. So let's go ahead and just continue along on our regular format here. I guess we'll start with you guys. How you doing, Ernie? Ernie, let's start with you. How you doing, man? How you been since the last time we spoke?
I've been doing great. Just kind of chilling. I know there was something that I did this week. I just don't remember what it was, but it was something that I told you about, and now I can't remember what it was.
I
And I
tuned
know
you
I
out,
did
so it's
something.
okay.
Sometimes, yeah. You know what I've been doing lately? A lot of is I've been going to the theater a lot. I want to go see Stitch, Lilo and
Now
Stitch.
Broadway or the
No,
movie theater?
theater. No, like the AMC, I guess.
Yes.
What would you call that? Not Broadway. That'd be
The
theater,
cinema.
right?
I don't know.
Still,
Cinema
the
theaters good
cinema.
too. But the way because you said theater.
Well, I have to. Well, I had to. Like, I have to sell it in the theater. So I went. Yeah, I want to go see Lilo and Stitch, Mission Impossible. Been just watching movies a lot lately, dude. Just chilling, grinding a little bit of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which we'll get into a little later. But how about yourself, Lex? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I unfortunately didn't get to watch my movies, dude. I was really sad I didn't get to. And it's funny, I haven't even watched the finale for The Last of Us as well either. I've been behind on that one. But we can get into that in another episode for sure. But it was a good weekend, man. Lots of family, some friends, just enjoying it. The long weekend. Kyle, what about you, man? How's life here for you?
Life has been good. I've been getting some good gaming in. Speaking on what you were just talking about, I have left off after a particular episode in the season of The Last of Us.
Okay.
And so I'm sure we all know which episode. But my question for you is following that, how would you say, I mean, I guess without spoilers since I haven't seen it, nor to, many people's disbelief have I played the games.
Mhm,
So would you say it's been faithful to the
mhm.
game?
Dang, we
It's
both
it,
did the same thing.
yeah, it's I'm gonna keep it brief because we'll probably do an episode about it. But yeah, I did. It's rough. I want to love it because I love the first season was spectacular. I mean, it went off on little areas, but it still stayed pretty faithful to the first. The second
Right.
one, it just felt a lot more rushed this season so far, and I'm kind of sad. There's been some great episodes. I know the episode you're talking about. There's also a couple episodes after that are fantastic, but yeah, if it falls flat, definitely doesn't hit exactly the way with the game, which is disappointing
I see.
because I want people to watch this and love it as much as I do that don't game. So it's kind of tough when it's like it's not living up to it. But Ernie, what about you? Had a quick little thought on that?
I mean, yeah, no, same thing. I mean, personally, I think it's probably not the best adaptation that they could have done with the show. Especially hadn't played the games like so many. I think me and Lex were looking at our game time for it. I forgot how many hours. Like we put like 60, 90, like crazy amounts of hours in just Last of Us 1, 2. So there's a lot, but especially for part 2. But just seeing the way that they're playing it out in the show is kind of like, well, this is not how it went down. And I get it, it's a creative choice to change things up, but I think they should have stuck kind of like they did the first season of The Last of Us, where it was a lot more of the actual game. But I mean, we'll get into that, like you said, Lee. But I
Yeah.
still, yeah, we'll get into it on another episode. But I still am excited for Lex and Kyle to kind of finish that, because I do definitely want to get in, like, just a more of the mindset of how you guys felt, because I have my thoughts, and I was watching it with my wife, and she has her own thoughts as well. But it was a lot of fun, just kind of like revisiting it in a
Yeah.
different medium, right?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to hear for someone who hasn't played the games either, right? And just see what they think about it. And obviously, we're gonna be like, "Well, the game," like when book readers
Yeah,
watch a movie, they're all, "Oh, you should have read the book." It's like, "Well, like, sorry, I don't." It's kind of like that, right? We're those
yeah.
people. But
No,
anyway,
yeah,
yeah,
I know.
dude,
I
let,
had it's funny because my wife had told me, I had asked her, I'm like, I should just play the game in front of you. I think you get a kick out of it more than the show. And she's like,
so
you can play it, and I was like, oh.
so
So
my cousin, she doesn't game, but what she does is she watches the YouTubes and the playthroughs, and it's not like a full one. It'll do like combine the cutscenes, it'll combine. And it was funny because I was talking to her on Monday, and she's like, "Yeah, I didn't really care for the second game. She didn't even play it. It was just funny." I'm like, well, it's hard because that game is very divisive for sure. But it was just funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, but I know she watched it, which is great. I love that she watches it. She's like interested in that, and I wish she would actually play it. But hey, speaking of playing things and games, let's go into our smash hit segment here. What are we playing? Let's start with Kyle. Let's start with the guest here. What games have you been playing lately?
As of late, that's a great question. Well, I have a few staples that I always keep in rotation that I kind of go back to. And that is usually Rocket League,
Mhm.
always and forever. But I would say the game that I have been playing that is out of the ordinary, that has been like a very fun experience, has been Cyberpunk.
Okay.
So it's been my first playthrough. I'm not incredibly far. I've only played about maybe about 35 hours, which I guess would seem like a lot, but compared to like what you can do in that game, it's really nothing. There is just it's kind of if honestly, if I hadn't played a game kind of like Elden Ring, it would have seemed overwhelming.
Mhm.
I've never played like the last GTA that I played was probably San Andreas.
Okay.
And so like that whole modern open world, obviously it's different because it's all, futuristic and, teched out and stuff like that. But it was, that's kind of how I perceived it and why like I didn't really like want to play it at first was because it seemed kind of like a very just GTA, but just in a different skin. So, but trying it out, I definitely am having a really good time.
Yeah. Would you say you're like a completionist, kind of like not fully, but or where are you at in like a level of having to do all the side quests and all that? But where
You
would you?
know, it's funny because it really depends. I I I would say most of the time I am not a completionist.
Hmm.
If I'm really digging a game, then I definitely think that I end up doing it just because I end up wanting to prolong the end of a game.
Yes.
So I just start doing the side missions, and then so I think, it just ends up being like a because like a cause and effect because I just don't want the game to finish. I start doing all the little things that you can do.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
found myself doing that with like Ghost of Tsushima,
Hmm.
which is funny enough. Like I still haven't finished that game, and I think there's like a mental block where it's just like I don't want to finish the game. I don't want it to end, so
I
I
hear
don't
you.
ever go back to finish it.
Well,
Um,
I want to say too, like it's funny because when I was playing Cyberpunk as well, I felt exactly the same, and that doesn't happen with every game like me. And
mhm.
what's like Ernie was telling me like in a couple episodes, like, dude, you got to finish it. And I'm like, but I don't want to. Like, I just want to,
Yeah,
like, I just want to spend. Like, I think I'm about the same as you of 35 hours. I'm also mixing the DLC with the main campaign. I don't know if
right.
you're doing that, and I'm just in there. I'm like, hey, I don't want to leave this world. I'm having a great time, and I haven't picked
Right.
it up in a while, but I'll go back. I've been playing. That's how I play that game for some reason. I don't know why that game in particular has that with me. So, dude, that's awesome, man. That's funny. That's funny that you had those feelings.
Yeah.
Uh, Ernie, what about you, man? What are you playing? Or did you
Well,
want
I
to touch up
mean,
on what we said?
I do. I kind of want to touch up on what you said. I mean, I was with you guys. I think I had that weird game time where I just would try to complete everything. And I think Ubisofts are the worst games for me because you get these like little markers where it's like, go complete this area. And it's like I have to go out of my way to do it. And don't get me wrong, I still do it, but now my mindset has been like, I need to finish this or else I'll never beat it. Because that was our big deal, right? Lexus was that you and I we had this discussion that we kept buying games and just buying games and games and we'd never finish them. And I was like, well, what is the reason behind it? And I'm like, it's because I'm trying to invest myself too much. And by the time I'm invested here, something new and shiny comes out, and I'm like, I need to do this. And so now I'm like, I'm just kind of in this like zone where I'm like, I got to just complete the main story. If I want to do side stuff, maybe I'll do it at the end, or maybe I'll do it as I'm playing. But for the most part, it's just main story for me now. That's how I played Cyberpunk. I know I missed out on a lot, to be honest with you guys, because Cyberpunk is a great world to be in. It's like it feels so alive, and I think it adds a lot to the story, especially towards the end. And I know you guys haven't gotten there, but I recommend you guys play it the way you are. Try to finish as much as you can and feel not completed, but feel satisfied with what you've done, because by the end, it does kind of feel like it mattered. To me, I was just like, man, I kind of feel like I should have done this a little bit more.
It's funny you say that because you were yelling at me for not finishing it before. But anyway, continue.
I mean, I yell at you for a lot of things, so it's not.
That's true.
But
that's true.
yeah. But for me, I've been able to play a bit of games. I've been doing a lot of handheld gaming, which is awesome. I have my Steam Deck and I have my Samsung phone, and I just got into Pokemon Black, and I think I have like 5 badges in that game, and it's been a lot of fun, dude. It's crazy because, I mean, we won't say how we're doing it. We'll just say that we're sailing the 7 seas here, as they say. And I've been playing that in that way with the fast forward button and grinding Pokemon battles like that is probably hands down one of the best ways. And some part of me feels guilty about that, and not like in a guilty way that I'm not spending enough time in this world. I feel guilty that like maybe I have TikTok brain. Have you guys ever thought of that? Where it's like I need things to be faster? Because when we were kids, we would get a Game Boy DS and then 3DS, whatever, PSP, and you would play there, and what you had is the time to do so. Now it feels like I don't want to make that time to be on it for the whole time. So I don't know. So I've been doing that fast forward.
Well,
thing.
remember when there used to be not an option to skip cutscenes for a lot of games, and you're just like,
Yeah,
oh.
exactly. Yeah, and it's crazy. It's a lot of the older games, but
Yeah,
so
you
that
replay
this
a
is
game.
yeah, this has been a really great way to play the game. It's just been giving me that sort of, I guess, just the want to finish it. And because a lot of the Pokemon games I play, I usually get into it and then I'm like, I'm just dropping out. But this one I'm almost done, which is freaking awesome. I've been talking to another friend of the channel. His name is Jalen. He's probably gonna join us on a Pokemon episode some later on down the line. But I was talking to him about it, and it was cool because he was kind of giving me pointers because it's such a different generation of Pokemon, and I'm not, well versed in it. And then I've also been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I got to a point. I know Kyle was there. We usually are on Discord sometimes, and I was telling him how annoyed I was because I'm like at the tail end, and I know I see it. I'm done. I keep saying this because I really truly feel like I'm almost done, but then something happens where it's like I don't even know what I'm doing. And so it's so frustrating because I think it's a great game, but there's so many faults here. Dude, I ended up getting so angry about the game, my friends, that I wrote a script that I wrote a video, like a video essay of how I was feeling throughout my experience. And I definitely want to like put that out one of these days.
Don't
And,
lie. You
it's
already
on-
posted it to every forum and review
I
page
know,
that you
right?
possibly could have.
It's on my, what's that freaking thing that they used to post blog posts? Tumblr. I posted on my Tumblr page. But so I wrote this whole thing. So I have this thing, but I want to set up a really cool video and kind of do it really like justice.
Is
So
that
I'll
your
probably post it on
thesis
the channel.
That's gonna be your thesis for school at the end. You're gonna send that in, and you're like, I said it the
Dude.
wrong thing, and they're all, this
Dude,
is
I know.
amazing.
Oh no, it's well, yeah.
It's just incredible.
No,
You've done it.
I think one of our buddies, Owen, he wrote a dissertation or to get his master's or something like that, and he wrote it on Counter-Strike.
I remember you told me that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. So
awesome.
it's like it's published. Like you can like go to the school thing and find it.
Find it. Yeah.
But yeah. So I've been playing that, and I'm still having a great time. But yeah, definitely, I'm like tired of it at this point. I'm like, I really need to finish it. But yeah, Lex, what have you been playing, or have you been playing anything?
Yeah, I'll keep it kind of short here because we don't have time for me. No, I'm kidding. I've been playing Fortnite. I just sent Ernie a sweet little video of my game that I played with my Jar Jar Binks character. I love my Jar Jar Binks character. He's so fun. I wish he could talk though, but it's okay. Um, having that's like my little side game, but I'm still playing with GTA 4, and I was gonna talk about it, but I just want to talk about this one thing that happened in and Kyle, I know you say you're not a big Grand Theft Auto guy, but if you're gonna play a Grand Theft Auto, I think Grand Theft Auto 4 is pretty
One to play.
yeah, but one thing I will say about the game is it's very annoying that everyone you meet is basically after a certain level, they wanna hang out with you. They'll call you, "Hey, let's go out for a drink. Let's go out for darts." And it's a cool feature, but I didn't realize how much it happens, and it's like I deny most people, and then it goes like, "Oh, thumbs down." Like, I'm all great. Am I losing my relationship? I don't think it's too bad, like, of what happens. Like, I don't think it affects the game too much. I think just with one specific character, maybe. But what I do love is that when you're in a mission and someone calls you to hang out, your response will be based on the mission. So I was doing a mission where I had to steal a helicopter, and I'm in the helicopter, and all of a sudden Roman calls me. He goes, "Cousin," he's like, let's go check out some ass." He wanted to go to the strip club, or he was at the strip club. He's like, "Come down." Yeah, he's
Are you
like,
sure
"I
it
need you."
wasn't me who called you? I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
huh?
I said, are you sure it wasn't me that called you?
Oh my
I'm just
gosh.
kidding.
Yeah, but he calls and he's like, "Oh, come on." And then you hear, and then Nico responds like, "Can't you hear? I'm in a helicopter right now. I'm this mess that you got me in." And blah blah. He's, "Oh, I'm sorry, cousin. I will send you a picture. Don't worry." And I was just laughing. And he hangs up. All of a sudden, I get a text message, and it's Roman with a little paragraph, and it's a picture of some ass cheeks. I was like, dude, that is so funny that happened. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this
Oh
is
my gosh.
hilarious!" Like that had me dying. I was like, "Oh my god, I love that." But other than that, I mean, I think I'm in Act 3 maybe of the game. I think there's 4 acts, maybe at the end of Act 2. I'm not sure, but I'm almost done with it. But I think that's the one thing that's the major gripe with it is the whole hangout stuff. But when it happens when I'm on a mission, it is hilarious and it's worth having. But that's all I'm playing, man. That's where I'm at right now.
That sounds good. Have you been playing it on the PC or on the Ally X?
On the Ally, strictly on the Ally.
Nice.
I tend to be playing a lot more stuff on that.
How's that been treating you?
Dude, I love it, man. I'm having a great time with it. I feel like I played more games for sure,
Yeah.
but also less games because I'm downloading all these games and I'm like, I don't even play them. I just want all these games on here so they're ready to go.
It
And then yeah, it's
becomes
just
a disease.
exactly. But
I just have
yeah,
SD cards upon SD cards just filled with games for no reason. It's just like, why do I even have that? I don't
yeah,
even
it's like
need that.
I'm switching from that to like the PlayStation to the PC, but like
Yeah.
Dude.
mainly the Ally is where I stay, is where I'm
Man,
at.
nice.
It's a good time. But yeah, dude, let's go ahead and jump into today's topic. Ernie, do you want to go ahead and get us into this and set it up? Set up the stage.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
theater.
The theater. So we've been we've talked about this many times. Talked about how many hours we put on or put into Elden Ring, and I decided that I wanted to make an episode strictly based on Elden Ring. Kyle, I've told you guys, helped me probably after like the 90th hour or something like that to complete everything. We did the seamless co-op, which was a great mod to to play Elden Ring. And so I wanted to get into this, just our experience with this amazing game. Now, I wanted to ask you guys this because I feel like I love the answer, because everyone's answer is it's different depending on your build, what you end up doing, how you end up playing the game, because there's so many possibilities, so many ways to kind of go about it. So I'll get started with this, and I'll ask Lex. I know you had spent like what, 90 hours, right?
About
Something
100
like that.
hours, yeah.
100 hours, okay. Damn, that's crazy. Dude, and we spent like what, 200 plus, like maybe 250. But yeah. So Lex, when you first jumped into the game, what was your initial experience like for you? Like, did it live up to the hype, or did it take a minute to kind of like grab you when you ended up like just getting into it?
So for me, I was right in on the get go, bro. And I'm not a I had never played a FromSoft type game. I've never played these type of games before. So this was my first entry into it, and I remember playing it, and I loved it a lot. Like, I was, like, really just into it right from the jump. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was just going and just trial by error, man. I was just doing it, but I had such a fun time, and you and I were kinda playing at the same time too, so it was fun to, like, chat about it, and, we didn't really have anything as far as, like, any walkthroughs or anything at the time because I believe me, I needed them. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how do you figure some of this stuff out?" And then when they finally started releasing things and, like, how to go and where to go, I'm like, "How do you even know? They don't tell you anything." But I had such a great time and just being in it. I remember I streamed it when I first got it too, weirdly enough. Uh, but dude, it didn't take me a minute. I was in. I was in from the start.
Yeah. What about you, Kyle? Same question.
Yeah, I think from the very beginning, I think what got me is when you first really get released to the whole, you know,
The
open world.
lands.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I, um I think what really gets me with Elden Ring are, like, the set pieces like that. There's a lot of moments where, on purpose, they set you up and they frame you in a spot where it's like, "Look at this." And a lot of it is really beautiful and breathtaking, and I think from the start, that's really what got me was the art. Um, I really enjoy it was my first, Dark Souls game, so, not Dark Souls, sorry,
From
Souls-like,
Mhm.
yeah, FromSoft game, and so, yeah, that definitely made me wanna just keep exploring immediately, but yeah, like you said, they don't hold your hand and they don't let you know where to go or how to do anything. You just gotta figure it out and have a really one, a really good sense of observation, and two, a drive to like want to understand, the lore in the world. If you don't have it, then I mean, you can just go fight people, which is fine. The game is designed so that way you can go do that. But yeah, it doesn't hold your hand in that sense.
Yeah, and also setting up that big old knight in the beginning, like thinking you can just go fight him right away, and then you just
Oh
can't. Like, it
yeah,
tricks you right away, right? But what
exactly.
about what about you, Ernie? Like, what were your thoughts?
So I remember when I first started playing the game, I felt a little bit overwhelmed. It hit me right as in the beginning it felt, I was a little scared, right? You get in that little cave area, kind of the
Mhm.
beginning. It's like a tutorial area. There's a little area that a lot of people kind of miss. I did. After like 60
Mhm.
hours I found it, but there's a tutorial area in that little beginning area. And I remember being scared and kind of excited. And then you hit this open world, right? It unlocks you. You see this big open thing, and it's like anywhere you see, you can definitely go to. And I just was like excited and also very nervous because I've played Souls games. I mean, I've Bloodborne, and I've played Dark Souls 1, 2 at some point. Never finished them until I finished Elden Ring. Well, Bloodborne I finished, but that was the other games I didn't. And so this was exciting. And I remember just jumping in, and then you go you go down and you meet this guy with a mask, you talk to him, and then you get to the first boss and he just wails on you, dude. And you're like, what the heck am I doing here? Like there is no shot. But I wanted to like there was a part of me there like I know I can do this. There's gotta be a way. And then there was no way. Like he just kept dying. And it was such a cool thing. Dude, personally for me, this is one of the greatest games of all time that I've ever had the pleasure to play. And it's definitely one of the game of the decades. Like I truly believe that. And I feel like FromSoft brought everything they learned from like every single Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, any game that have come out, and they perfectly crafted it and evolutionized it into this game. And I like a part of me really wants you guys to try those games and really give them a shot because I think you'll appreciate Elden Ring a lot more. But I get it. They're difficult. They're of their time, right? And they're so different. But you know, as a huge Bloodborne fan, I felt like Elden Ring just hit different. It was a 10 out of 10 for me. I think, like you guys stated before, the hand holding, they're not hand holding any of the game. Like, you need to figure this out by yourself. You need to know what you're sort of, and I guess you use your own guidance to finish this game. And I think that's like the perfect way to play that. And I think, honestly, I really think that Zelda Breath of the Wild kind of uh, helped, solidify that with future games. And I think that's kind of where Elden Ring kind of got that from. personally, well, but I might be wrong. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
just yeah, go ahead.
and you also have that sense of community, right? Of everyone playing because the way you can navigate this world is people write messages. And I didn't realize you can write a message to help you get health if somebody likes it till a lot later in the game. And I remember being mid boss fights and someone just get health boost, but like you would just, but the messages were so vague too. It'd just be like right, then rump, or like left, then
Tremendous rump or
or
whatever.
jump or reward or like dumb stuff like that. But
Yeah.
there was some helpful stuff, but there's also some troll stuff, which is always fun. But that was like a way to navigate it, which is crazy. I was like,
Yeah.
this is how do you had to go through this game.
Yeah, it was cool, and I think this is my other question for you guys because, like, the world sort of felt alive, and not in the terms of where you're playing in the environment, but the people that are there with you suffering in this game because the game is
Yeah.
difficult. It definitely is, and you seeing these like red shaped figures of these characters that are built like they look crazy and they're dying somehow, and you don't know what's happening to them. But you just see them die, and you're like, "What's happening here?" Like what am I expecting? And I
So
think that
entertaining, so educational,
yeah,
just
it's
all of
so
the above.
right. It's so interesting because like you it's daunting at first, right? When you see that, you're kind of like, what am I looking at here? Because you don't get a
Mhm.
lot of context. It's just kind of like someone either rolling and then it's like, oh, and they just dying. You're like, how did they die? You're like, what
Like,
happened?
you see it, you watch.
Yeah, but yeah, but yeah. So my other question is, the lands between is it was massive, right? And it was pretty overwhelming at first, right? Like we stated before. Did you guys feel a sense of wonder right away when you walked into the world? Did you kind of feel like, okay, this is the open world. Let me go explore this way. Let me go explore that way, or let me go straight ahead. Like, what were your guys' thoughts right as you jumped in, Kyle? I'll ask you that one first.
Yeah, like I said, I guess kind of my first answer kind of answers this one too, because more than anything, yeah, when you first step out into the open world and then you're just met with, the front of Limgrave and then, the Erdtree in the background, that shit is pretty, jaw dropping. If you especially have a nice big display, you're just like, wow, that is very pretty. Um, so yeah, and plus just the color palette of the game in general definitely like made me feel like I was in a world that I hadn't played before. And I
Yeah.
think, a lot of games can sometimes, feel similar to others, and definitely like the whole lands between did not had not felt like anything I had ever been before. And I guess maybe you guys or Ernie can speak on this because I hadn't played any of the Dark Souls before that. Um, and I know that there are, certain things, and I don't know how true this is, but I had heard that basically the lands between was a meeting point between all of the souls kind of universes, like a convergence point. That's why there's so many elements of other Dark Souls, games and universe elements inside the lands between.
Mm.
I don't know how true that is, but
I've heard this as well, dude. Which is,
Oh, that's
but
crazy.
I don't know. I don't know if it was true or not. Like, is there, like, what did you? I forgot. You were telling me that there is a lot of story here. There's a lot of lore. And
there's a
how
lot.
do you find it again? I forgot you had said it. It was you have to read something or what was it?
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of the lore is delivered in just context clues. If you kind of just put pieces together in terms of like the location, if you look at each location
Yeah,
and look at the enemies you're defeating, look at the powers they're using, even the weapons they use, what they're wearing, all of those serve as like context clues as to who they serve, who they're fighting for, who they're fighting against, what kind of god they worship or powers they receive their powers from. So different aspects like that, and then on top of that, just weapons. Obviously, characters NPCs have very important, details and pieces of dialogue to give you, but the lore and the weapons and shields and other things like that that are built into the information, you can literally look it up in the menus, and there are paragraphs. Um, or just context clues and hints as to what's going on or how the weapon is there to tell a story in the greater world. And yeah,
Dude, I
it,
didn't get
Hmm.
any of that. I
I
wasn't
know.
paying attention. Like I know there was so much. I know I saw stuff like that, but I wasn't paying attention too much. Like thinking about that opening cutscene, I'm like, when I saw it again later, I'm like, oh my gosh, it makes so much more sense. You're seeing everybody you're gonna encounter and all that stuff it talks about. It's wild, man. It's very
Yeah.
well done and very deep in the lore, which is awesome. I appreciate it. I wish I could have gotten more of that. I don't know how
Yeah,
you
but
were you a lore guy?
personally, I think, well, I don't know how Kyle did it. I feel like he did it probably the same way we did Death Stranding. I think we ended up watching videos on Elden Ring after we completed it, and probably at the same time we were trying to complete it, because there was just so much content out there
Oh
that
yeah.
people had found out, and it was like, and it's like you're like, how the hell do they know this? But
Yeah,
they're
there's a
getting
lot of
so
people out there,
detailed.
they condense and they filter that information that is so kind of loosely strewn about in the world of Elden Ring, and they
Yeah,
distill it, like, perfectly into, you know, very good pieces of, video essays to just kind of explain
yeah,
things. I mean, things obviously you pick up as you play and you can kind of put together yourself, but they just tie it all together.
yeah.
Um,
And chronologically is kind of like the big
yeah.
thing too. But yeah, Lex. So I mean, long winded, but how did you feel about the lands between seeing that open world?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, a little overwhelming, but at the same time, I was just like ready to explore and just kind of just go in. I remember reading things about the game before it came out, so it's like I knew to go look for dungeons. I knew to kind of stray off the beaten path. And it's funny because like when I played on the second playthrough, you can skip the castle leading up to the first boss entirely. You can go around that whole thing. You can skip the Margit and the whole section after. Like I found a way to get around. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm on this side now. So there's just so many ways to just play your play style. I mean, obviously, I played it the way I guess I don't know if I was supposed to, but the way it was kind of intended.
Yeah,
It was a little overwhelming for me, definitely, because I once I learned I had to grind and continuously kill like people to get some more XP to kill the first boss. Because just like you, Ernie, I got in there and I got wiped out like nothing. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like there's no way. How am I going to beat this guy? And
yeah, yeah,
persistence.
definitely, dude. I think there's a lot of skill in the game, and I think I've seen a lot of people who are low leveled and are able to take out these like bosses like there's no tomorrow. Um, but yeah, was there? So obviously we talked about a little bit of the open world, but in Elden Ring, there's many locations, beautiful, beautiful locations, and they all are very different in their own rights. And I think they tell a story, right? When you're there, like Kyle said, you just kind of are there and seeing what is around you, and you can kind of surmise like, okay, this is probably the battle that they talked about before. Or this is like where this happened. And so, was there an area personally to you guys, or an atmosphere that it gave, or enemies that were around that area that looked crazy that just stood out to you guys? Um,
There's
you can
so
go
there's
ahead,
so
Lex.
many locations, and it's kind of hard to really say. I think I remember one of the big standouts when I was playing was the Academy of Raya Luceria. Is that what you said? With
Yeah,
it's like a little wizardy castle, and just it's funny because there were some places I would go, and I'm like, okay, maybe this place kind of gives me a little sense of safety, but it was never safe. Like and then this place, I was like, oh, I think I'll be good here, and it wasn't like that. It was eerie and it was creepy. I mean, that's one of the many places, and the Stormville Castle. It's hard. It's really hard because there's so many freaking areas in this game.
yeah.
But I think that was one of the standouts for sure. What about you guys?
Kyle, go ahead.
Um, I Oh man, that's such a tough question. There's so many good ones.
Mhm.
I guess we'll keep the DLC off the table because there are a couple locations since I know you haven't dove into that yet. So there
I
are
mean,
a
it's
few.
okay. You can spoil it if you like.
Okay, well if I had to pick certain locations, I guess okay, I'll pick two. One for the lands between, and then I'll pick one for the DLC or the I believe it was the Realm of Shadows or Land of Shadows.
Those are the lands in between.
Yeah, that's where the
In between the
DLC
between.
takes
No,
place.
I'm kidding.
Oh, sorry, what did I say? The lands in between? Lands of what
No, I don't
lands
know. I don't know. I
between?
think you were saying something right. I was just making a dumb joke. But go
Oh, sorry.
ahead.
Um, I think, probably the Giants, the mountaintop of the Giants was a place that my if I had to pick my to be my favorite, I was just taken aback when you're, like, literally on a very steep, narrow, bridge getting over to the forge. towards the end. I would say it's probably one of my favorite locations and designs. It felt very epic. I don't know. I know it's a very simple word to describe it, but that's exactly how it was when you just see giants everywhere. You're having to fight giants, and then there's just frozen giants with humongous spears going through them, and then just, everything is just ginormous, made to make you feel small, and you feel small. Um, if I had to pick my favorite location in the DLC, it has to be in the Jagged Peak, which is where the roost of the Dread Bale. Uh, that had to be probably the one of the locations in any game that I was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm traversing through a place that looks like this. And it just felt alive. I think it's probably the most alive location that I've ever, like, just without anything, no other living being or enemies around to just make you feel like that place is living. So yeah, Ernie.
Yeah, dude. It's funny is I was trying to look up the location and I'm having a difficult time. Hopefully, you guys can help me with this one. But there's this location in Elden Ring, just the original game, main story, where there's a group of ladies who are just dancing and they're just like frolicking, right? You get this guy at the end, he's a Godskin, I believe I forget his name, but I think it's
Windmill
Godskin something.
Village.
Yeah, Windmill. Thank you so much.
That was
That
so creepy.
place gives me the creeps, dude.
Yeah.
It like to my
Yep.
core.
Yep.
I hate being there, but I also love it. I think it sets such a tone of like when I'm in and I'm in there, guys, and I'm overpowered. I'm one hit kills these like people, dude. But it's like
Right.
even it doesn't even matter how strong I am, dude. The noises, the ambiance, that like everything around that little area, and it's just a small little area. It's not like a big location on the map. It's just a small little area, right? And I just remember always staying there at like the longest I can, exploring every nook and cranny that I could possibly be in there. And I remember just being like still creeped out. I'm like, and I have my headphones, dude, as loud as I can have them. And you could just still hear these little things. And I'm like looking around, and I'm like, that is perfect. That encapsulates, personally, the reason I chose it is because that encapsulates Elden Ring for me. It's that eeriness, the exploration, the want to know more, but still sort of weary on where you are because you don't know at the end of the day what could happen here. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I think Kyle and I probably have this experience, but there's like areas where you just kind of are walking through. I'll be brief on this. And then all of a sudden you just hear something go and just crash. And you're just exploring. There's like no reason that should happen. And a big old dragon comes out of nowhere, right? Like things like that. So that's kind of one of the reasons I was in that area for a long time because I'm like, there should be more here. Like I feel like there's got to be.
I want to touch kind of just what you said. I mean, that
Please,
happens with dragons a lot for sure. But there was a point. I don't know what section I was. I was walking up this big staircase in this like ruined area. All of a sudden, this bird creature just flies in and just lands in front of me, and we just start fighting. I have a video of it somewhere, and it was just so cool how it happened because it was quiet, nothing, and all of a sudden he's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no,
and it's not scripted, right? It's not scripted. It's
no,
just
it
something that kind of
happened.
like, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
if
so
one
so
thing
freaking neat.
Elden Ring enemies know how to do is they will confront you.
Mhm.
They will come after you, and I
They
mean,
won't
I know,
stop.
yeah, they don't stop. But not only is Elden Ring, I mean, they're not really. It's like a horror game, but man, they got some good jump scares.
Oh yes.
They got some guys hidden in nice dark corners where you are not like. Sometimes even when you're expecting them, they will still get you when you're not expecting them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't even get me started on the hand creatures, dude. Those guys, I hated those things.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, dude. Kyle, are you still there?
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
You gotta fix your
Uh,
camera.
yeah,
And
camera went
don't
out.
worry about it. But I'll get into
all
this
good.
one because
That's a
let's
jump
move on a
scare.
little bit
That's a
here.
jump scare itself.
That's
Yeah,
a
go
jump
ahead.
scare. Yeah. It's on the black screen. So I'll get into this one. We're gonna talk combat and gameplay here, Lex
All
and
right, let's do it.
Kyle. Now the combat builds are very classic Souls feel, right? They have a classic Soul feel, and they added a lot more. Obviously, they added the jumping mechanic, stealth, horseback fighting, spirit ashes. Um, I know you haven't played most of the games. I know Lex has played Demon Souls. Kyle, I don't know if you've played any other Dark Souls games. We'll find out shortly. But did you guys feel like what did you guys feel about those changes? And did you feel like they improved on the formula, or did it take away from the challenge of the older games? Lex, I'll start with
So,
you.
yeah, I'll start because I mean, I did play Demon Souls. I played a touch of Bloodborne. I don't know if you would consider Liza P. Kind of. I mean, obviously it's not from Soft, but it is kind of a
It's
Souls
a Souls
game.
like, yeah. I mean, I'll take it.
Um, so for I can't really comment too much, but for me, I mean, I felt it was a really good entry point for someone trying to get into these games that has been hesitant. So for me, like I don't know if I can try with Dark Souls. I don't know how I would do. Like I would probably give up and the Sekiros and all that stuff. So getting into this, I feel like was a good entry. And I think having all this stuff, I'm kind of spoiled, right? So if I was to go back and play those other Dark Souls games that you recommended, I'd probably be like, what the heck? Where's all the stuff I want? Like all the stuff that makes my life easier. Not to say this makes your life 100% easier because it's still tough and challenging what you have in Elden Ring. But you know what I mean? I'm just kind of like, I think I would still be like, oh man, where's my spirit ashes? Where's my horse and all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I mean, I think I was like you, right? I had Elden Ring, and that was my big introduction to the Dark Souls games. I had beaten Bloodborne, fantastic game, one of my favorites.
Wait,
I
I'm sorry, you
love.
said Elden Ring was your intro? No, you meant something else.
It was like my big entry, sort of, to the
Oh, I see.
Dark
Okay,
Souls.
okay,
Like I
gotcha.
had played 1 and 2, but not it nearly enough to be
Gotcha,
like,
gotcha. Okay.
oh, okay, like I know what I'm doing. Like, no, I was like really bad at it. Turned it off like like an hour in, maybe less. And so Elden Ring was the one I went fully, I was dedicated to the game, right? I was trying to figure it out. And don't get me wrong, I fell off for a while. After like 60 plus hours, I fell off, came back, put another 90 in there. I just kind of kept coming back. We always talked about it, right? And so going back and playing the original Dark Souls 1 and 2, I haven't beaten 3. And then going back and playing Bloodborne again, going back and playing Sekiro, going back and playing freaking I finished Liza P's as well, which is not like you said, not from Soft. Very close to one though, to be honest with you, one of the best. Um and yeah, bro, you when you leave Elden and you go somewhere else, it's like you're gonna miss so many things because like I stated before, they fix so much, they change a lot. Don't get me wrong, there's little nuances that you will find in the Dark Souls games that are gonna be like, well, okay, this is there, right? And this is what they improved on in Elden Ring, but at the end of the day, it is an Elden Ring, and you got to play the game way different. I was still a very heavy based like build, dexterity, right? That was what I always play, and I still played like that. So you can do that, but there's some times where you're like, oh man, I kind of should have, I probably should have done this because it does make it difficult. That's what I love about Elden Ring is like you can make multiple builds and it feels like you're gonna be okay. I think in Dark Souls I didn't feel like that. I felt like you had to stick to something or you're screwed. But yeah, what about you, Kyle? Have you played any of the other Dark Souls? What did you feel about the gameplay in Elden Ring?
Yeah, no, I have not played any of the Dark Souls. Had never played a Souls like, or at least what would be traditionally considered a Souls like. So everything was new to me. The play style, the mechanics, the way the bosses fought, their patterns. Um, yeah, I think the most notable thing for me was just the delayed attacks, the use of delayed attacks, you know?
Mhm.
I think you're used to like a lot of traditional, either very quick aggro or large sweeping attacks. And in Elden Ring, you get a combination of the two, and then the timings are very wonky. And so you feel like one quick attack is coming, and then a nice heavy one is coming, or slow, you know? So I think getting used to that was definitely something new that was very unique to FromSoft games. Um, I don't know if that's how it feels across, the other Dark Souls games. I guess you could attest to that.
Yeah, they felt a lot more. I mean, they feel heavy. You feel weighted a little bit in the other Dark Souls. I think in this one you're a little lighter, personally,
Right.
in the way you move. I think. I mean, Bloodborne is like you're fast. You're really fast.
It's
In
funny
Sekiro, you're
because
even faster. What's
it
up?
feels like with Elden Ring, at least for me, like my thing with the what kind of my learning curve was like, oh, this is something I have to get used to in this FromSoft game. In Elden Ring was the the canceling. So if you hit, your attack or your light attack button 3 times, and like for example, Ghost of Tsushima would be a good comparison. Like if I was spamming the R1, but I spammed it 12 times, and he only got through 4 attack animations. If I wanted to then block, I can block, and just kind of
Yeah.
cancel out. And Elden Ring, if you attack 3 times, you best believe you're gonna watch your tarnished lord swing 3 times, and you're gonna have to
Yeah.
suffer through the choices you made, whether they be good or bad.
Mhm.
True.
So
Yeah, but the one thing I do want to get into this, and I think I wanted to ask you more than Lex, because I know when we were playing, there was one thing that you disliked about Elden Ring, and and I remember specifically the annoyance, the yells, the oh my god, one of these he would always do, but the jumping, right, the platforming in the game.
Mm.
it
What did you
is
think?
it like I don't know if they're just paying homage to the Japanese greats, to just try to be a platformer, Metroidvania, Super Mario-esque. I don't know what they are after,
I think they're just trying to piss you off. Just kidding.
Yeah, I don't think they're trying to.
but it there is an obscene amount of platforming that needs to be done in the game, which I understand to add a level of difficulty. I understand the layer. I am not mad nor upset nor annoyed that there is platforming in the game. I am mad. I am upset. I am annoyed that the implementation of platforming is awful.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's funny.
It feels as if you are playing on a PS1 game. The blockiness when you are leaping from one place to another, and the way the connections of your foot to earth feel just very, very loose. And I would say that is probably my biggest nitpick of Elden Ring, if I have any at all.
Yeah. Lex, anything to say about the jumping at all or the platforming
Oh, I thought
before
it
we
was
move
terrible
on?
too. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's funny because there's probably some people that are really good at that part, right? They're probably like, "Oh, we're the best,"
Yeah.
but the other stuff they're not that great at. Maybe I don't know,
No,
but
I
dude,
mean,
yes, I don't think it's paying homage. I think they want to piss you off. It just feels that way. In typical their fashion, I feel like.
Any way to make you die, right?
Exactly. Anyway, just to be like,
yeah.
"Ah," and then
Oh
there's those
man.
moments if you fall off something, like usually your souls are like at the edge of the cliff, but sometimes they're not. And they're like you have to go down again. You're like, no, there they are.
Oh
You
my
have to fight for it. It's
Yeah.
like, it's good
You
stuff.
know what's funny is that if you go back to the original Dark Souls, they don't have a jump button. You have to run jump. And you have to do that with some platforming there too. Oh my
Wow.
gosh. You guys don't even like if you guys were pissed about what you had to do here, it wasn't as much, but it's there, dude. And yeah, and like you said though, Lex, which I want to get into a little bit, is there are people that know how to platform really well in the game, and there's people that will roll into a roll into a situation, which sounds funny, but they'll roll into areas that they're not supposed to get into to
Mhm.
get into areas that they're not supposed to get into, and it's so interesting. But yeah, I guess we'll end it with this with the combat. What was your guys' build? Like I said, I had a heavy dex build. I had a berserker build. You guys can look that up. That's what I was. Smasher of all things, big old sword, look like freaking Cloud Final Fantasy VII or freaking
Yeah.
what's the guy from Berserk? I can't think of his name right now. Oh my god, what's his name, Kyle? Do you remember?
Guts.
Guts. There you go. No guts, no glory.
Guts.
Yeah, dude. And I would just jump and slam, dude. It was a nasty little build. I loved it. I had a great time. Took many enemies out. What about you, Lex? What was your sort of build?
So I started with the basic build, whatever that class was, and honestly, I just was maxing out everything before I even realized what I should be maxing out until I finally looked it up. But dude, I was everywhere. I was the sword. I had my magic. I was just playing with everything, and it worked for me really well. And then it's just I was a weird hybrid that just didn't really make sense, but it worked for me, and I had a good time doing it. And I think when I restarted the second time, I think I just went straight for a samurai build, maybe. Um, but yeah, that's where I'm at. What about you, Kyle?
I'm sorry. I had started out with the vagabond build, and that was my initial first character. I definitely went the same route as Ernie. I went high dex, high strength. It wasn't until about midway through my playthrough where I started to try to level up other things to include more arcane and get some more spells in the repertoire. Um, but yeah, I think primarily my first playthrough was definitely, at least my main playthrough was with a dexterity build. I was using the same weapons as him. I had also was using the blood but I had a lot of fun early on with I believe it's Ura's or Utah's, I forget his name. Um, the guy with the samurai hat, his quest line, he gives you a nice slew of weapons. He gives you a dagger and a couple samurai weapons, and oh man, they're fun to play with. The whole blood builds is something I utilized a lot of as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
What about
I
you,
mean,
Lex?
I already
Oh,
said it is.
yeah, I already said it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, but
sorry.
You're good. You're good.
you're
You're good.
good. You know, I didn't even tell you guys what I started. I started as a samurai. I always just do sort of the samurai build.
Okay, yeah, I think I
Obviously, I
did.
kind of go based off of that. You know, when I remember when I first started, I remember being not knowing what I was supposed to do, and sort of put like Lex putting my attributes on anything, and I forget that there's certain weapons that need certain attributes, and I'm like, oh man, like I could have had this sword, and so I just have this sword that's like useless to me until I, eventually figured out what builds were. But I guess, I guess it's not the last question. I wanted you guys. All right, let's be honest here, right? I had to write this one in. Did you guys use the spirit ashes? If those who don't know what spirit ashes are, they're basically a sort of apparition that you guys can summon forth, help you during boss battles. Usually, they're pretty nasty, depending on which spirit ash you have. One is a mimic of yourself and your build, and so whatever you're using will pop out this apparition and start wailing on this character. A lot of people use them as a sort of hey, look at me, I'm Mr. Meeseeks, so the boss goes to attack that while you're in the back slamming them, you know what I mean, or doing something. I
Oh, whoa.
personally, I've used them. I was scared when I was playing this game. So I was like, I'm going to do whatever I can to complete this game. I'm not the best Souls gamer. I'm not like crazy. I love the games, but I used them and I had a great time doing it. I don't think it was a cheese. I don't think there was any sort of like, I didn't feel guilty in any way. But I know that there's a community of people that will look down on you for doing this.
I was gonna
Now,
say, yeah,
And let them.
I
And
was like,
let them.
it's in the game for a reason, man.
no,
If
I
I
know,
have to
yeah,
use it,
right? Exactly.
I'm not using a mod to get a guy to help me. It's there. It's there for my resource. And yes,
Exactly.
I absolutely
Yeah.
use it, dude. I had the big beefy dude who was a big old guy, dude, that I had at one point. He
Yeah.
just murked everyone. It was so cool.
Mimic
That
tears for the W.
Yeah, I think it's fun. But you know the funny thing is too, real
Yeah.
quick, I'll say the Spirit Ashes thing, you can miss it in the beginning. I had a buddy who played Jamie, friend of the channel.
Yeah.
He played and he missed it. And I'm like, no, you have to go here and do this, and it was gone. He had to wait till like a certain part to go access it again, which
Dude, that's
is crazy
crazy.
because you
Yeah.
have to go continue like maybe 2 boss battles without it. And dude, good luck to you.
Yeah, you're screwed. Kyle,
What about
good.
you,
Yeah.
Kyle? Yes.
What did you?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What was did you well, I mean you kind of answered, but you said you did use the spirit ashes?
Oh, absolutely. Definitely, I did. Everyone can play the game how they want to play the game.
Agreed.
I know some people that started the game at max level, and if that is what it makes the game fun for you, then that's what makes the game fun for you. If you want to do a no hit, no death run, with no upgrades, then go ahead. And if that makes you happy, that makes you happy. And if you want to use some mimic tears, go ahead and use some mimic tears. If you want to use spirit ashes, use spirit ashes. I used not a lot. I didn't use them incredibly often. However, when I was getting very angry with a certain boss, and I have a limit. This was my first FromSoft game, so I am not fully bought into, nor do I feel the urge to fight a boss 300 times
Hmm.
before I beat them and earn that satisfaction. Like it, I don't playing 300 times does not seem like a fun spend of my time. I enjoy progression. And I guess people enjoy that very little progression. So if I am going to need to use after 10 deaths, I'm using what is at my disposal in order to clear this enemy.
It's funny you say that because I still was using these and I still took 300 times to beat bosses. I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
mean,
what you're talking about, dude. This
I
guy,
mean, you had to
as soon
level
as
up
I
the
walked to
spirit
the boss
ashes,
fight, I'm
right?
all, I bring him out, dude. I bring him out for him. Bring out
No,
the machine
yeah.
guns.
So
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like after a certain amount of deaths, I'm coming in with everything.
Yeah.
I'm playing with the cheesiest of the cheese. I'm using a mimic tier. I am rune arc, everything. If I still
Mhm.
can't beat them, I will come back 25 levels higher and try again.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm. That's the beauty of
yeah,
the game. You just kind of do however you want to do it, right?
Oh yeah, you can go level up as much as you want before you go and take down a boss. You can explore in that way.
yeah,
I will say, if you're not playing without any mods or anything like that, the rune system is pretty tough. It's
Yeah.
tough. Like the amount that you have to farm in order to get a decent amount of runes is like
Mhm.
it's pretty painstaking. So I don't blame anyone for using mods in order to kind of speed that along as well.
There was an area
yeah.
I found at some point in the game, and I shared it with Ernie that every enemy was like 10K runes, and it was early in the game. They're not super hard, but if you get hit, you get
You're
pretty screwed up
toast.
if you're not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was nice. I farmed there a lot.
Yeah, there was a farming a boulder that would fall,
Yes.
and every time so I farmed
Yes, yes,
that,
yes.
and then there
They,
was another little area. It was like one of the dungeons, and I
they,
farmed that as well, dude. And
they,
it's like there's you're using the game, what the game is giving you as at your disposal, so
mhm.
that you should not feel guilty in any way if this is the way the game was designed. That is on them, not on you, right? And honestly, Kyle was alluding to it, but the leveling system is poorly optimized, right? Like, because you do hit this cap.
Sorry, gentlemen. One moment. I think
You're good, no worries. But you hit this like level cap where you're having issues kind of getting to a higher level, dude. Even when you get to the higher levels, like what the game's cap is, which I think is like 170 or something like that, it's
Mhm.
like when you get there, you need like millions and millions of runes to like level up. It's the craziest thing, and it's like,
That is wild.
yeah, I don't blame people for using the mods, but yeah, let's move on to the next one. This one's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited for this one. Let's talk about the boss fights. Now, the
Yes.
boss fights in the game, they're wild. I mean, they're pretty cool. There's a lot of cool looking bosses, a lot of great fights, and they've all stuck. Not all of them, but there's some that stuck in my head still to this day after defeating them. And some are those ones that you are having such a difficult time, and once you beat it, you're like, yes, we did this. Like, I did this, right? Um, and
Which is not
so
something Kyle experienced as he told us. Just kidding. He
right,
said, "No, I'm not doing 300 times."
yeah, I know. So
Just kidding.
So yeah, so what are the one of the most memorable, you know, fights that you had personally in one of these in Elden Ring? Like, what was it, and how did it fare? Was it difficult? Was it, you know?
Well, obviously, the very first fight was such a big impact because it's their very first big boss, and you're just like very starting to start the game, and it gives you this impression like, oh my gosh, I am in for it here. But you fight a lot of great fights, and you can miss a lot of them as well. But I think my favorite one definitely was Star Scourge Radon, dude. When you go to his little festival to fight him, and he's on his little horse, and you can recruit everybody, all your little friends that you've met along the way, and it's just like a big old battlefield. And it's funny because I actually found him to be more of the easy side for myself. And I remember people, but I think they ended up like patching it by the time I got there because I remember it being super hard. Hearing it was really tough. But I think out of those fights, I think that was one of my favorites. There's plenty of small fights I encountered that were fantastic as well, but that one, as the scale of it, was just such a great time and so fun. I think that was one of my favorite ones. What about you, Ernie?
Yeah, dude. For me personally, it was now I always get this mistaken with the order in the game for whatever reason, and I just like went back and played the first game. But uh is Margot the second boss or the first?
I think
Margot the
Margit is the first,
Margit. There you go.
the
I
Fell
always get that.
Omen, and Margot is the second, right?
Oh no, that's
I'm,
the one I always have trouble remembering.
I'm gonna look it
You
up right
said, yeah,
now. I think
yeah,
Margit
please.
is the first one.
Margette is the first one. What's the second one? That's the second. Is the second one the one with the dragon? This is where I get confused.
Dragon. Oh
You
man.
remember he pulls out a dragon and he gets the arm.
Oh,
You
that's the
remember he
second
has
one.
a.
I don't think that's Margit. I think it's something else, right now.
That
Oh,
is
okay.
Godric.
Godric.
Godric. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, gentlemen.
So,
My camera's overheating, so it's flickering on and off. So just give
You're
me
good.
one
You're good.
moment.
no worries.
We'll
Take your
hear.
time,
We
brother.
all we need to do is hear your sweet
Yes,
voice.
yes.
That's all we
I
need.
Yeah. But yeah. So
That's right. Godric.
what
Godric.
the yeah Godric, bro. I think that is such a fun fight for me because I actually have a video of it, and I this was around the time you and Lex and I were talking a lot during our Elden Ring sessions. Kyle wasn't a part of this yet; he wasn't playing this game. He ended up eventually building a PC, and that's why he played Elden Ring. But Lex and I were playing it. He was on the PS5, I was on the PC, and while we were playing, we're like, let's like record our gameplay of what we're doing, and we'll show each other what's going on because like Lex has stated before, we were kind of starting at the beginning of Elden Ring when there wasn't a lot of stuff on YouTube. There wasn't a lot of videos of what to do on all these things. Remember that? Now
Yeah, we
maybe
were
we're
the
wrong,
YouTube.
but we were. But like, think about that, bro. Like, I remember not finding anything, and I
Mm-mm.
could be wrong, but we were looking. I remember we would talk about it. It was like it kind of reminded of me of like the school days when we were back in the day in Game Boy and Super Nintendo or PlayStation. And you're like, there was no like IGN at the time for
Yeah,
us.
like
It was
little
just
things
like
were
school
coming out
talk.
here. Little things were coming out here and there, but yeah, definitely everyone was discovering this game as we were in real time, right? It's
Yeah,
such a huge game. You can't get all the answers for everything because some people might not have even gotten there yet, which it's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Like
It's wild,
I
and
do not like imagine like being a person who makes the walkthroughs for these games. Like that is tough
dude, that
for
is
this
crazy.
game,
Yeah.
especially.
So Godric was one of the ones that I had a great time. I think it was personally the like again the atmosphere and the way that the boss battle was set up, where there's two um phases of the character, and I was just like, dude, this is so cool, and being able to finish that boss, and it was one of the first times that I could remember and I could recall, and that's why it's such a big. It means so much to me is because that was one of the first times where I was swung at and I was able to roll out the way so perfectly, like we were both dancing while
Heck
this
yeah.
fight was happening. And it was so sick, dude. It was so cool. And I think that's the beauty of the game. It's like where you're like the perfect dodge, the perfect hits, and it's like you're not getting hit. You're just kind of like dancing around. You've memorized sort of this boss's um
Play style, his hit
moves and
styles.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
Hey,
it's
you got to be
so
patient with this game. Like there's you can't rush it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's probably the one that stuck out with me the most. I don't know if you're able to talk about your experience, Kyle, whilst you're figuring it out, but
No, yeah, I would say the same. That exact boss fight that you're talking about, I experienced the same thing, and I think it was I think for me, it was kind of like as mechanics that became very useful into the game for future bosses and stuff like that. That clicked for me was like dodging into them. You know, that was something that was kind of new to me that the game encouraged you to do in against certain attacks. That was very weird for me, and it's just like it's very kind of counterintuitive. Whenever a boss is charging you or aggroing you, sometimes with an attack,
Mhm.
it's best to just get right under his feet or something like that. So that was definitely a new mechanic for me. Also, I mean, I panic rolled until the very end, but when I could keep calm, I was able to against the same boss because it took me a while because I tried everything. He was like the first boss that I had played, in my vanilla playthrough on the Steam Deck, and so I was really learning, the Elden Ring mechanics as intended. And the incorporation of rolling into them as well as not rolling back, but hitting the back step. Because when you're fighting, you're constantly pushing your left stick around into directions. It kind of seems like very counterintuitive to just let go of it and then hit your back step button. But it ends up being a lot quicker than rolling out, and so I feel like that was a mechanic that I learned with the first few bosses, which I think is on purpose because the first few bosses that you encounter seem very like on purpose, very what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's engineered to teach you, you know? Especially
Yeah,
like
yeah,
even the tree sentinel when you first run out into the very beginning of the game and you're fighting that boss, like it even as simple as like, hey, run away. Like that's a simple game mechanic that like the game might as well like you can take that as a lesson is oh, I need to try to fight him, 40 times till I beat him and maybe that's the type of game, your playthrough is going to be like or it's like maybe I can just back away from this guy and go and level up, explore somewhere else, fight some enemies that are a little bit more, you know
Your speed.
exactly.
Hmm.
no, yeah, man, I agree with you. It's such an interesting way because the way they do set up the game, like you said, mechanically, I think they do kind of provide like sort of in their own way a small context on how you should probably get to the next boss. Oh, nice, you're back, dude. I ended up adding. You'll see it in the video if you watch it, but there's a little picture of you I added.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But
Sorry,
yeah,
my
dude.
this camera's not used to being on such a high quality podcast.
Oh, you're good, man.
Dude,
You're
I
good.
love
So
Hey,
it.
it's
Look at him.
literally burning
Hey.
into flames. I had to get an ice pack and it's
we'll,
underneath it right now.
we'll
Oh
reimburse
my
you. We'll
god, dude.
reimburse you
We'll
with
reimburse.
On the
Yeah,
company
we'll
credit
send
card,
you
I know.
the
on the
credit
complete
card.
card. Yeah, but yeah, let's get into the next part of here. We'll kind of add this and together with exploration and the freedom of the game we've kind of sort of discussed.
Mhm.
But I wanted to get into the exploration of the game and how the visuals and the sounds sort of make this landscape and sort of world feel alive. So we'll get into that. I kind of want like graphically, right? The game is very pretty and it runs as best as it can. I know it's had its faults, right? I think on PS5 it didn't run at a solid 60, right? Until eventually it did. I think the PS4 version was a little bit better if I remember correctly. You guys could correct me on that. Probably look that up, but I do remember it was a little odd. I know that even on PC it's 60, but you have to mod it so it can run even better. And it's like this whole thing, right? But yeah, like how did you guys feel exploring this world in Elden Ring? Was there any visual cues or sound cues that sort of, made you guys, really be like just have this feeling of like, wow, this is a really great looking game and sounds great. Kyle, let's start off with you.
Yeah, the sound was great. I definitely enjoyed the soundtrack, but I think the use of, just overall ambience was really, really good. Obviously, I can't touch too much on the audio, which I guess is a good thing because if you don't notice it or if it doesn't bug you too much and it's something you can manage within the, an audio menu setting, then I think that's a good thing. Um, Graphically, though, yeah, I think they do a really good job of making the game pretty. I understand it's locked at 60. There's a few things you can, fix that with on a PC, but if you're on a console, I know life is different, but I think for what it is and for the ability to, play, you know, you can probably get 4K at high settings and probably stay under I wanna say 8 gigs of VRAM, which is probably good for a lot of people, so you don't really need something super powerful to play the game and is, very pretty looking, so I think they did a really good job of optimizing it. Obviously, there are some issues, um, but I don't blame them too much. It is FromSoft's first open world game, so I think considering that, pretty good job, both, audio in the both audio and visual department.
What about you, Lex? What did you feel? Did you feel like that exploration, helped with, the audio and the visuals?
Yeah, I will say I played it on PS5 at launch, and I don't really remember running into too many issues. I think it ran great for me. I don't remember any frame rate issues too much, but also I don't really pay too much attention to that stuff. Um, just because I'm just kind of blind to it. But dude, no, I mean, I thought it looked great, and I love it's you just the atmosphere, the visuals, and like the sound just made you feel a dread with wherever you are, and you always got to be on your toes, and you're just kind of you're not safe. You didn't feel safe anywhere, and I just remember having that feeling of just walking through places like at any moment something can happen to me. I think the only time I felt safe is with I was with a merchant, or something like that, and just like talking to them and they gave me some kind of comfort. And then the sound, it was just very, kind of subtle in some places. And in boss fights too with the music, it's like, oh, like all like these grand scale songs. And I thought it did a fantastic job with the visuals and the sound for sure. What about you, Ernie?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm with you. I think there's moments in the game that really stood out to me, and I think audio and visually, there was a moment where there was this bat lady or something, and she's singing like you said, very angelic, sort of like, and it's like a random noise, and I'm like, a part of me is drawn to it, but a part of me is like scared for my life.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. I'm a scaredy cat. We've talked about this many times. So I go investigate, and it's this freaking big old white bat looking thing. And dude, it is so scary, but so hauntingly beautiful at the same time that it just works so well in this game. And I think, the audio is so awesome in this game. I think it brought me back to, it gave me this sort of, I hearken it to my playthrough of Skyrim when I was playing that as a young lad, and hearing the sounds of that game and the soundscapes of everything around happening, and the creepiness factor that would just just all be a part of this particular moment. And I think that, like, that's one of the reasons that it just really hit me at my best. But at my best, at my most feared some of
Try
I've
your
ever
worst,
been.
I guess, in a way.
I guess my worst. There you go. But yeah. So visually, great looking game, beautiful. I think Kyle and I could attest to this. When we were playing seamless co-op, there was moments where we would just get to the next world, and it's like there's more here, and then Kyle and I would be like, "There's more," and it's like, and then we would walk in, yeah, right, and it's like we would walk in, and both of us would stay quiet, and we both know for a fact we're just looking at what's out there. Like, we're just like, my God, but quiet. It's like we're taking it all in, as I would say. And it's a beautiful look. It's a beautiful game. Like, it's so pretty. And I think it visually, the way that I mean, not just graphically, but visually, the way the art style and everything that they set up for this world makes it so much more welcoming and inviting, right? To want to explore that
Makes
world.
you curious.
Yeah,
exactly.
and on both of those, exactly what you just said. I think the curiosity factor, they do a very good of satisfying, in the sense that in just, I would say, about 90% of the game, anywhere you see where it looks like you can get there, you can get there. Whether it be in some very convoluted or strange teleportation chest,
Platforming.
or platforming, yeah, literally, or a warp tunnel, or a tunnel underneath ground that takes you there, or a lift, something. There is a way to get there. And I think it just adds to the connectedness of the whole place. It doesn't feel empty in that sense, where it's like, oh, that's just drawn in, that's just put there to look good. It's like, no, that's functional. You can go there. There's probably, an item you can pick up there, or a cookbook, or, a smithing stone, something like that.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, so we'll get into the next one, and we'll kind of cut it a little bit here. But let's talk about the multiplayer and the community, right? I know we kind of touched on the sort of red figures that pop out in the world, or the little letters that are left behind. What did you call them, Lex? I forget. Off the top of my head.
Gosh, I forgot what they were called.
It's like,
I can't remember now.
That's all right. It's not it's late. It's late. The brain is going. I gotta get them out of here.
You're good.
Okay, good.
I remember.
Yeah,
anyway,
please
keep going.
So there's these letters right in the world, and then there's these characters that they kind of show you exactly like, oh, this is sort of, this world is still alive without you, in a way, right? There's other people here. There is that sort of community, but there's also a co-op and a PvP. Now, co-op in Elden Ring, the way that's set up is that there's certain places that you could call upon another Tarnished. They'll join in. They'll come in at a lower level, and I believe their health is also down, if I'm not mistaken. You could alleviate that by, if you have a PC and mod Elden Ring, you can do seamless co-op, which is a mod that a bunch of fans created, or this particular person, I think, but I'm assuming he had a lot of help, and you basically play the whole freaking game with 2-3 people. I think you go up to like as many as you want. I think 3 is probably overkill, but 2 is pretty good depending on the light on your level. Um, but did you guys? Well, I know. Well, I mean, I won't talk a lot, right? Because I mean, Kyle and I played probably mostly the last part of the game co-op, and then we played the whole DLC together, which was a lot of fun. But and then we'll get. I mean, I'm gonna probably skip the multiplayer. I'll kind of like mention it briefly because I don't think any of us really played the
Well,
multiplayer, right?
I
Or
will
did you?
just say this about it.
Go on.
Well, first of all, yeah, I did play a little bit of seamless co-op with you guys, and it is fun because it makes it a little more less intense, especially on your second playthrough. Like I remember telling you, I have a little pep in my step. But the community is called just basically messages, but you can appraise these messages to give these people health.
There you go.
If you want to rate it good or bad. If you rate it bad, I don't think anything happens. But I did try on a regular playthrough with not the seamless co-op. I tried to join my buddy's world and I'm over here thinking, hey, dude, I'm all ready to go. I got all these stats. I'm good. We're gonna mess them up real easy for you. But when you join that person's world, it takes away like half of your what are they called? Crimson tears? Is that what it's called? The health. Your
Yeah,
flask takes those
your
away,
flask. Yeah,
takes away your spirit ashes. Basically just brings you down. I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry. I thought it was gonna come in here and just screw you up. So that was the only time I dabbled with the actual multiplayer itself.
yeah.
And it was cool, but you had it was kind of it was a little confusing. It was another thing where like you had to look it up to find out because like you'd have to get the finger and write it on the floor. Then they would have to do something on their end. It's like
Pretty
how would I
convoluted.
have known this? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was just, that's what I was with that multiplayer stuff. The actual, not the seamless.
I know. Yeah, yeah. So, thoughts on I guess the multiplayer and or seamless, right? I'll let you kind of get into that, Kyle.
Yeah, I did not enjoy the original or, the actual multiplayer that's baked into Elden Ring. It is not. I mean, I understand that's not their cup of tea and that they solely focus on a single player experience. So I guess I can try to appreciate their implementation of a multiplayer aspect. But as somebody who's never played a Dark Souls game, it's basically coming into my first game. It's just like, oh, well, there's a single player with just very, lackluster multiplayer elements until you get the seamless co-op mod. So yeah, I did not like it. I thought it was kind of just useless in terms of like how much they nerf you in order to get a little bit of help. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I do appreciate finding out about the seamless co-op mod and then being able to play through that way. I think it actually probably the main reason why I ended up finishing the game was being able to play with someone. It just made it funner. The co-op experience made it definitely I would also say faster, but it allowed me because I was moving through things faster. I didn't have to go through the sludge and drudging of replaying certain fights and redoing certain things. Like obviously there is that element to that. Even playing with someone, it's still not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it allowed me to explore more and to go at every single nook and cranny and just do this and do that, and then plus doing it with someone who was willing to explore with you makes the game that much more enjoyable. So I found it made the quote unquote community of the game to suck me in a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just to kind of piggyback off of Kyle here. I think he's 100% right. I think it helped me want to play the game a lot more and get deeper into the lore and more of the story of the game because like I said, I was scared of this game. The nature of my playthrough was interesting because when I'm scared in a game, I run through things. And I talked to you about that with Liza P. It's like I'm running through things, and that's how I play the game. If I'm scared, I do that. I did that with Silent Hill too. I just do that because that's my way of trying to like I'm just gonna go through it. And so I think with Kyle and playing with him and talking and just kind of like, hey, there's something over here. I am by myself here. Like he'll be like, go explore over here. I'll be over here. Let's figure this out. And just kind of figuring that out together. Just having him on the microphone, I think, really made the game such a better experience for me. And don't get me wrong, like I've stated before, I played like 90 plus hours by myself. And then, and I felt like I wasn't doing anything because I was still stuck, not knowing what I had to do. And eventually we figured it out. And I at the last bit of it, now I'm like, 150 plus hours that I've done of this game. And I freaking finished all the achievements, and I didn't do that with Kyle. I did that like separately, but that was because of that seamless co-op. It allowed me to kind of, I guess, really go full force on the game, and I really appreciated that sort of mod coming out because it was such a godsend. But yeah, I guess we'll end it here, boys. This is the last question. I love asking this because as Elden Ring lords, as the Ye Tarnished, right? We played this game for many, many hours. If someone who has never played a FromSoft game, and would Elden Ring be the right one to start with, or is it still something you'd only recommend to like certain type of player? I'll start off with you, Kyle. What are you thinking?
I think it's kind of hard to answer that because I haven't played any other FromSoft games, except for some really early Armored Core. So I don't really think that counts in like the kind of vein you're asking me. I feel like you'd probably be better equipped to answer that. However, as my experience of Elden Ring being my first Souls-like slash From Software game, I had a great time. And I think the open world aspect and like we mentioned earlier, the ability to kind of, you know, if you're stuck at a wall, you can kind of reroute, go farm up a bit, go collect some more items, go learn a bit more about the world, go get a bit stronger, and then come back and then face your problem. Whereas I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the past Dark Souls or FromSoft games are a bit more linear. And so it's you're kind of stuck having to fight somebody where you are at the level you are, and it's just like, well, you just got to get past this now. So I think the flexibility of Elden Ring might be a good thing for a first time from soft player.
What about you,
Yeah, I
Kyle?
would.
What about you, Lex?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with Kyle on that. I think, like, same with you. I'm not super familiar with the Souls like genre, but I think as for myself, getting into it and just not the type of these are just not the type of games I would enjoy and like to play. I love this game. I had a blast with it. It definitely was like I kind of want to try the other ones, but I probably won't because I don't want to get frustrated and cry. But these like I think this is perfect. But it's funny because like I had a buddy, my buddy Jamie. I recommended to him, hey, this is an RPG. He's, I've been willing to get into one. I recommended it to him. I warned him, hey, it's tough. And I think he gave up pretty early because it just, I guess,
Oh no.
he just didn't want that type of game, and
Yeah.
he's just like, I don't have time to play this. Like same like with me. Like I was playing the way Kyle wasn't. Like I was trying to beat a boss 300 different times, and it was rough. And but I still had a blast with it. I obviously I didn't finish it, sadly, but I think if I'm gonna tell someone to play a Souls game, I think I would start here. What about you, Ernie? As
Uh,
the resident
that
Soulser.
I mean, for most of the game, not all of them, but uh, it's funny because I've been wanting to say this throughout the whole YouTube video, but talked to one of the friends of the cast, Caesar, and I had asked him a question, and I asked him, "Is there a particular way you're playing this game?" I won't get into how he's playing it, but he's like, "I'm gonna play this game like this because I don't need it to be any harder than it is." And I remember telling him, a lot of people say this is life's already hard. I don't need my games to be as hard as life, and that's Elden Ring. It is a tough game, so it is a hard sell to get a lot of people into it.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Elden Ring is probably one of the best ways to get into From Software games because the other ones don't have the best mechanics. They sort of, like I said, they're trickling into this one, right? The good is coming to Elden Ring. All the bad is still there. If you go back to the first Dark Souls and you go back to Bloodborne or whatever, don't get me wrong, they're all great games in their own right because of the time that they came out in. But Elden Ring is the perfect entry point because it does allow you to play the game the way you choose to. You don't have to stay at this particular boss like Lex has done 300,000 times just trying to beat one boss because you can leave. You can leave and come back, but you realize that, right? Like that's the thing is like you were able to choose how to play, and I think that's the beauty of the game. It helps sort of evolve you as a player of this game. Yes, we're all gamers, and I know we play a lot of games, but as a gamer, you could become stagnant. And I think when you start implementing new sort of games like RPGs all these other things, they sort of teach you how to be a better gamer. And I think Elden Ring taught me how to be a particular style of gamer that I wasn't before. And I think it kind of felt to me like a Street Fighter, like a fighting game, where it's like you need to learn the technique in order to progress yourself in a game, in this particular game. So I think this is one of the better ones to have that doesn't have a big learning curve personally. So I would recommend this to I mean, to a lot of people. The type of player, I don't know, because if I tell a Call of Duty player all they do is play Call of Duty and I recommend them this game, they're gonna say hell no. Hell no. Because they haven't played anything like similar to this. If someone I know has played The Witcher, or maybe like possibly like, I don't know, a hack and slash game, Devil May Cry, sort of something like that, then I could probably ease them into it.
I think you have to be willingly wanting to play a Souls-like. I think I think you can't just go into it blind and be like, oh yeah, you know, like I play this game and want to play, like, you know, you should play this game. I think that person has to want to play Elden Ring, and that is the only type of person that is going to enjoy Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I guess my question, last thing for you guys, are you going to be playing Elden Ring Night Rain that is coming out this week, at the end of this week, by the time this episode releases? Are you guys interested in that game? What are your thoughts? I mean,
oh dude, yeah, day one.
Is that is a strictly where you can actually do multiplayer, right? You can play with people. It's not, no mods needed. It's like a roguelike type, right? Is that what I'm messing up? Okay.
Yeah.
They just released a thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No.
I was gonna say they just released a thing where you can play it single player. I think so. You don't have to play with multiple people.
I heard.
Yeah, and they're doing duos. Yeah. So I mean, I'm definitely gonna. I want to buy it. It's like, well, $40, right? I think Kyle and I were talking about it. It's funny because we had been like, I don't think we're playing a Dark Souls game next, and now we're going back to another Souls like game.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, it's not. It seems like, I mean, obviously it is Elden Ring. It's Elden Ring assets. It's Elden Ring mechanics, but obviously they spruced it up a bit. But I think, I mean, I am a bit Elden Ringed out, to be fair. I've put, over 200 plus hours in, recent times into that game. So I am a bit, tired of it. But at the same time, it is combining two of my favorite things, which is Elden Ring, and I do like roguelikes. And so I feel like just that in its of itself, I have to own it just to try it. If I don't like it, so be it.
Yeah.
Interesting take. I love it.
But yeah. All right. Well, we've come to the end of the episode. Guys, I appreciate you guys.
I appreciate
so much.
You guys.
Thank you. So, as always, I would like to thank the friends of the channel for tuning in every week when we drop an episode. We've been dropping it every Thursday now, I think. I don't even know if it's changed. Lex is the businessman. He's the management. He's the one that keeps me in line, so he'll tell me what to do.
Yes.
But I would like to thank you guys. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please follow us on Instagram at checkpoint_reached. There, I and Lex will be there to speak on any inquiries that you might have, or any episodes that you guys want to be a part of, or maybe you just want to get your voice heard. Please comment on this video on YouTube. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think? What's the legacy of Elden Ring? What do you think is going to happen next? What are the flaws you guys thought of? Or, do you like the jumping mechanics? Do you feel like maybe we need to get good? I don't know. You tell me. Lex, please send us home.
Yes, I mean, thank you, Ernie. You say it's so great every week. Thank you all so much again. Follow us on Instagram at checkpoint_reach. Kyle, thank you again so much for joining us on this episode. We hope you had a good time.
Had a great time.
We hope to have you back for another game, Elden Ring 3. This time it's personal. We'll be coming out, and we'll do that one. But dude, yes, thank you all so much for listening. We will see you all next time. Checkpoint reached. Goodbye.
Goodbye.